Good blessed Friday morning, May the 26th, 2023. The time being 5:40 a.m. I greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter whether you're the richest or the poorest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't even matter whether you are the proclaimed toughest or the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like anything I say or do. That's your prerogative. You have a First, 14th, and so on amendment rights to the United States Constitution. I come today to say a few things about the power of God. I'll say a few things about the will of God. To say a few things about the talent, the gifts, the assignments, the missions that God give each and every one of us on the face of this earth. God has never forced any human being to do anything against their own will. This picture here is a picture of two powerful individuals who God allowed to produce two powerful, amazing, beautiful, talented young girls. Queen Ramona Nicole Ivy and Birdie Mae Ivy II. Some of y'all wonder where Birdie and Queen Ramona get their strength, get their courage from. It's from their parents. Their mother, Marisol, and me. You see, both of us grew up in a place where some people couldn't survive. It's in Chicago, Illinois, on the near north side. Walking distance to the Gold Coast. Walking distance to downtown. It's the infamous Cabrini Green housing projects. Both of us happen to live in the same stomping grounds at different eras, though. Cabrini Green row houses. But we was able to travel all parts of Cabrini Green, from the row houses to the red projects to the white projects. Yesterday, when I was on my scooter, I ran into a guy that actually was at the place that me and my ex-wife and my two youngest daughters' mother was at on this particular picture. It was in the old Mercy Seat Baptist Church on Locust, right off of Marshall Street, the dividing line of South and West. He happened to be there videoing this wedding in 2004. His wife happened to be taking the photos. And he stopped me and he said, Raymond, I got something for you. And he gave me two of these, even though I still have the entire photo album and the entire 2 hours plus video of my wedding. I'm telling you all this and showing this picture for a reason. You see, God allowed me to go back to where I grew up at. And not just by coincidence to run into this young lady. when running into this young lady, it was a lot of people that she thought was her friends, if the shoe fit, wear it. A lot of people that she thought really cared about her, if the shoe fit, wear it. Now, don't get me wrong, some people did, but I know plenty that didn't. Because when you care about a person, when you see something that's taking that person down, you will do your best to persuade that person to change around. Some of y'all that watches this, y'all know what I'm talking about. But God allowed me to bring her down here from Cabrini Green, which some people call a urban jungle, to Charleston, Missouri. And when I brought her down to Charleston, Missouri, it was a task, but it wasn't a task that God didn't prepare me to deal with. And I believe I passed the task because look at her on this, compared to the people that she called her friends. The way she looked, the way she acted, and some of the things that she was doing. But you see, sometimes people don't know the power that they have when God give it to them. You see, some people think that Satan has a lot of power. The only power Satan has is the power of suggestion. You see, when God take you out of a place, he give you instructions. He give you instructions like he did Lot. He told him to flee and don't look back. You see, he tell you don't look back for a reason. He tell you don't look back because you are human. You are a human being, and human beings are made of blood and flesh. They are born to make mistakes. You got a song that say, I'm only human, of flesh and blood I'm made, born to make mistakes. You see, I made a lot of them repeatedly. And it took some decades to turn me around, but God allowed me to be turned around. You know, God allowed my wife to turn her life around if she so pleased. You know, I know it was hard because of the fact that there's so many individuals that she really thought that loved her. But in the end justified the means. The end really showed my two young daughters that a lot of people that said that they loved her, said that they was her friends, some even family, if the shoe fit, wear it. But they didn't love her. They loved what she was capable of doing. They loved the people that she was able to attract. They loved the sin that they wanted her to participate in. But God didn't love it. As her daughters, my two youngest daughters, grew older, even though they were separated from their mother, not by choice, but not by force, rather, but by her choice, they still loved their mother. They still traveled to go see their mother. But let me tell you this. I'm showing you this for a reason. It's some of y'all out there, you still got a chance. Satan only have a power of suggestion. Satan don't have no other power. The Bible tells you if you resist Satan, he'll flee. I'm a witness to that. There's many times people made me want to take their life. But I ain't going to even say people made me want to take their life. I wanted to take their life for some of the things that they was doing. And God gave me a choice to do it or don't do it, to get revenge or to let vengeance be his. And I let vengeance be his. You see, when Nehemiah was building that wall, so many people told Nehemiah, come down. They want to talk to you. That's what they've been doing to me. When you see these attacks, they sending people to try to attack me, to make me deviate from what God made me to do or made me to be. You see, if I was who I wanted to be, I would have came down from that wall, and more than likely there would have been mass murders. But I stayed on the wall. You see, because all of my attackers, even those that tried to take my children or took my children at one time, they know who they are in law enforcement. Look what their children is being charged with now. That means I must be raising my children better than some law enforcement officials that came in my house and took my children and gave them to their mother when they knew their mother wasn't able and stable to take care of them. But that was Satan. This is law enforcement, y'all. Black law enforcement. But look at their child. Look what criminal activities their child is being charged with. Look at some of the other people, y'all, that misused her. Look at their status. This Memorial Day, y'all, 2023, sit down and consider before some of y'all go out there like Satan to and fro, considering who you gonna do a drive-by on. Some of you young children here in Charleston, Missouri, sit down and think before you go shooting fireworks and disrespecting your elders or other people in this town. You see, because that might be your last. Consider you adults, black adults here in Charleston, Missouri and Carbondale, Illinois, that's misusing and abusing the black community with these programs. Here in Charleston, Missouri, y'all take a good look at Stella's Consultants. Y'all take a good look at Fresh Start Performing Centers, the two locations on North Main Street and on Paul Street here in Charleston, Missouri. Ask yourself why, if this director has two locations that you can Google up that says it's their center, why is they using 700 Elm Street or Cy Williams Street as their summer camp program? And they said it's sponsored by them, Fresh Start, the Housing Authority, Charles Missouri Housing Authority, and Safe Haven. Ask them where all of them is at when these children is out here disrespecting the black community. Ask them why they ain't using that program and using the lights and electricity in that space at Fresh Start Director's two locations that you can Google up that says that's where his center is at. I'll tell you why. Because they don't care about them children. I don't care if they is giving out free food. You can believe they getting free government money too. But let's go to Carbondale, Illinois. This past Tuesday, I went to a city council meeting speaking about my son. It had been 795 days since my son, Brian Lamont Johns, was found hung in Carbondale, Illinois. I've been going down there for the past 2 years, speaking at the city council meeting. There's new city council members, and I just look at them. They don't have nothing to say when I speak about my son's death. When they trying to rule it suicide, and anybody else that looked at the videos, they know it was a homicide. The only thing they're concerned about is this government grant money. Look at Carbondale United real good. They said they had 7 violent interrupters, but they only can produce 2. 2 that been to prison. One is one of the ones, him and his wife, took advantage of my son and other homeless people in Carbondale, Illinois, at the Samaritan home, where homeless people tried to get on their feet. That particular violent interrupter, Michael Vallet, and his wife, Katie Babcock, that's Babcock, Vallet, they took advantage of my son and other homeless people. Going there, Michael Vallet working for a grassroots program because he'd been to prison before, drugs and homicide. He took advantage of that when he delivered the food. He also got my son and other people's food stamp cards. Spent my son's food stamp card when he was alive and when he was dead. But some of the people on the city council in Carbondale, Illinois, including the newly elected mayor, black, 2 other black city council members, they don't care about the black community. All they care about is funds. All they talk about is their organizations. Women for Change, Carbondale United, and all these other things. They talk so much about how much they love the police. But I got their phone numbers when they used to call me and tell me how racist the chief of police was, how racist the city manager was. But now, since they see that I'm revealing how corrupted they are, now they talking about how good the chief of police is. But I'm going to leave it at this here. The reason why I'm mentioning all that, you see, God called my ex-wife home because she wasn't doing his will. Don't let God call one of y'all home for out here misusing and abusing people like y'all misuse and abuse my two young children's mother, Marisol. I just wish she was strong enough to see through y'all. I'm hoping I raise my 2 young daughters who will be 17 and 18 in July of this year, 2023. I'm hoping and praying that they be strong enough to withstand this evil out here. It's not just white people. It's a lot of blacks out here evil. I'm glad my youngest daughter, who will be 17, she told me how much she liked it, a young guy down here. Even though me and my oldest daughter down here didn't too much approve it, but I told them they old enough to make their choices. But she seen what I was telling her. It came to pass. Sometimes good looks is not something that you look at for a mate. You see what I'm saying? She got tired of him wanting her to go and do things that I told her not to do. Like go to his house. She wanted to go to the park. She wanted to go bowling. She wanted to do things in the daytime that normal people, when they're dating, do. He didn't want to do that. It was all about going to his house. You see, I told them their bodies is sacred. Before you open your legs to one of these individuals out here, I don't care how much money they got. I don't care how popular they are. Make sure they put a ring on your finger. Make sure they're not a liability, and they know what a liability is. You marry an individual that don't want to work, want to lay on his legs behind, all he want to do is get between your legs. You have a child. Your child is your liability. A grown man shouldn't be your responsibility or your liability. But I'm going to leave it this here. Rest in peace, mighty soul. I'll tell you, no matter what you went through, no matter how far away you was, me and your two young daughters still respect you. We wish that this union would have never end, but I had to make a choice. I can't be in the world and be doing God's will at the same time. I can't compete with evil out in the world, but I know how to combat it. And I'm teaching my two young daughters to do the same thing. Wake up, y'all. Stop the violence and let the peace be still.